Today I want to talk about lower body and how you can monitor it, whether you're at home like I am or you're out on the golf course. We talk a lot about legs and how they should work during the swing. Legs are important for helping you to retain balance so that the rest of the body can move. They're a platform for the upper body and the arms and the hands and the club to move correctly. So not only do you use your feet and your legs to get power from the ground, which transfers through your body, but you also need to use your legs to keep centered and keep balance through the movement. Particularly in the downswing, and they're going to drive and initiate that movement in the downswing. So what I want to do is have a look at how you can best stay balanced and centered with the way your lower body's moving. When you set yourself up at the start of your swing, a good reference for stance width is that the distance between your feet is roughly 35 centimeters, give or take. A taller person is going to be a little bit wider. If you're using a driver, your feet are going to be wider again, but that's a rough guide. If you're shorter or a younger person, then it'll be a little bit narrower. But generally between 30 and 40 centimeters is where you're going to play virtually all your full shots. At the start, hips are centered, so knees are flexed, but you're not balanced over your left leg, nor are you balanced over your right leg. Use a mirror, use a window to be able to reference that. From a side view, when I'm tilted forward, my belt line is tilted down, roughly 20 degrees. So again, it doesn't have to be exact, but my belt line is definitely not tending toward horizontal, which is going to round my back. So the belt line is tilted down and my knees are flexed a little bit. A good reference for how much your knees flexed is that the front of my knee here is pretty much over the middle of my shoe. So my legs are not set up straight, nor are they flexed a lot. And the balance is in the middle of my feet. So it's not up on my toes, back of my heels, not primarily on my right foot or on my left foot. So I'm set up really nicely and balanced. Now, once you start to move your lower body, here's some reference points. As I swing the club back, my hips are going to turn, but the angle of my right leg is not going to change. So as I go back, it doesn't move toward the target. As I go back, it doesn't move and slide. If I look at my left leg in the backswing, as my hips turn, my knee will naturally rotate sort of in like a little semicircle. So as I go back, my knee is going to move in a little bit. It won't necessarily move in a lot. It'll move in more if I turn my hips more, which say a less flexible person will need to do. So, but even as I swing back, if I have my hips sort of turned a fair way, my knee's still not moving in too far. Now here's another critical thing. When I swing the club back, I don't want my knee just moving forward, because as I move forward, it drops my hips and that affects my upper body. And then of course that's going to affect what happens with arms and club. So from this view here, when I swing the club back to the top of my swing, my knee has moved in, but it definitely hasn't gone beyond my toe line. If I was, say, holding a basketball and turned to give it to someone, my hips would turn, my knees would work pretty much the same as they would in a golf swing. So if I was turning toward you and handing you something, I wouldn't move my body like that. So why do it with a golf swing? So when I'm swinging back, I've got hip turn, anything from say around about 40 to 50 degrees, depending on your range of movement. The more movement, the more my knees will flex a little bit, but not too much. When I change direction, my hips are going to move forward and back toward the target. And as I swing, when I get to the top of the swing, because my right hip is a little bit higher, so my right hip's here at the start, at the top of the swing my right hip's a little bit higher, so my leg is straightened a little bit, my right leg. And my left leg's bent a little bit more because my left hip's a little bit lower. So again, these are just things that are happening, just a natural body movement. So we don't need to make that excessive, because again, we're looking for stability with the body. In the downswing, when my body moves, my hips turn back toward the target, my pressure's moving toward my front foot, and this knee here is going to stay flexed. And again, that's because my hips are not lifting, nor as they swing through are they dropping excessively. Again, most of this is based around keeping the hips level as they turn back and as they turn through. So use a mirror, use a reflection of some kind to watch that movement of lower body as you turn back and through. Use the reference points of hips turning back without sliding the hips. In the downswing, your left leg will move forward until it's vertical. There's no excessive movement with the knees during the swing, because that's going to affect the hips, and we're looking for stability through the middle of the body. So you can monitor that, practice the movement, see how it influences the rest of your swing, and then when you go and hit balls, after you've practiced it a few times without thinking too much about what's happening with the upper body, it'll start to blend in with your movement, if you're not already swinging the club nicely as you should be.